Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. A clash between ZHANG ZHILEI and Martin Bakole on a Saudi-backed card is looking increasingly likely, with the Saudis, Turkey Al Sheikh, looking to make that fight. So what we'll do is we'll go through what has been reported by ESPN and then a few thoughts, because I like this fight. It ends in a knockout within about 6 rounds, and I think there are a few other peripheral considerations, so we'll talk about it. But first, as you can see here, Mike Coppinger with the tweet saying Turkey Al Sheikh tells ESPN he's exploring a high-stakes heavyweight bout between Martin Bakole and Zhilei Zhang in either Africa or China, where they hail from respectively. Bakole coming off TKO 5 over Jared Anderson, Zhang with a TKO 5 of Deontay Wilder, both 6'6", 285. So the prospect of this sort of fight, I like it, because these are two big bangers, and I think what we've seen from the Saudis in the past year or two is that they do place a premium on guys that get stoppages, guys that are big punchers and that are going to put the hurt on and entertain. So I guess you would sort of say other guys like, say, Joseph Parker, he's the guy, the music stopped and he's without a chair here. He beat ZHANG ZHILEI and hasn't had a fight since. Zhang has gone on to beat Deontay Wilder and potentially could now face Martin Bakole. So you could say potentially the decision wins, although it's revived Parker's career, also at the same time hindering him to some extent, because who knows what's happening with him. Until recently, it had been thought that Zhang was going to activate his rematch clause to face Parker, but you do have a case with Turkey Al Sheikh running the show with these Riyadh season cards with the Saudi-backed money, and he's effectively calling the shots, helping make these fights and directing fights to happen, putting the money up. And with the money man, people will follow, especially if the price is right. And I think this could end up being quite a decent fight if it was in China or Africa. From the perspective, if it was just on, say, a USA-based Riyadh season card, or in the UK, or in Saudi Arabia, it just ends up being a really, really good fight. But to have it in Africa or China gives it something a bit extra. And I'm sure with all the money that the Saudis are pouring into the sport of boxing right now, and especially into a lot of big name heavyweights and creating big heavyweight fights, they've got other sort of peripheral goals that they've got. They're not just being altruistic towards boxing. They've got other, goals, and people will say sports washing, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, taking it to a big market like China and a potentially untapped market in Africa, it ends up being quite a spectacle, a very big event. I think the last time I saw Zhang fighting in China was Don Hainsworth, and it was basically an 85% empty auditorium, and that was, 2018, something like that. Zhang has basically been plying his trade overseas for the most part. In recent times, obviously, with the Joe Joyce wins and then stopping Deontay Wilder brutally not so long ago, you have a case that his stock is on the rise. Despite being on the wrong side of 40 and having that decision lost to Parker, Zhang's stock very high, and especially, people forget, especially if you get a knockout over a long-time big puncher in Deontay Wilder. And the fact he's got that stoppage power, the potential to turn your lights out, there's danger at any time during a fight. And this is part of the allure with the fight with Martin Bakole, who also has similarly heavy hands. He basically had it all over Jared Anderson. He's been a bit of a menace, bashing up journeyman in recent years, waiting for an opportunity. He's got it. And the fact that these two guys, you put them together, there's going to be a stoppage. So wherever they have it, it would be guaranteed fireworks. And we'll wait to see if it actually occurs before going any further with, how the fight might play out. But in terms of a stoppage, yeah, definitely one would be coming. And for, the Saudis and what they're doing, pouring all this money in, having the sport of boxing, the prestige associated with a massive event, a one-off, the first of what could be more events, you would have a lot of prestige associated with a huge event, more so than just banging them on as a co-main event on a card somewhere else, putting them in their home countries, Congo for Martin Bakole, China for ZHANG ZHILEI, it would be a huge deal. And I'm sure that you could end up making a pretty nice card to support it as well. Similarly to the UK, where for Joshua Dubois, they've got a pretty much all sort of UK type card for that one. You might be able to do something similar with, depending on where it's held. Maybe it wouldn't be as strong as some other cards, but there's certainly the potential to bring in a few ringers and still have a very good card, and this would be a very good main event. So I think this one's got legs, and if you're Joseph Parker, you're probably looking at this tearing your hair out going, I've beaten Zhang and it's like I'm being penalized for it. And perhaps he is. Like I say, the Saudis place a premium on knockouts, on violence, on delivering that entertainment, and getting stoppages seems to help you with the Saudis as they're considering some of these matchups. So we'll have to see where it goes. Frank Warren, he'll have a say in this. Boxer promotes Martin Bakole, but if it makes money, it could make sense. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.